It's often expectation versus reality. What we expect, we want it to be done in real life. For example, when we go to the hair salon and we have a picture or an image in our head of what we want our hair to look like, and we maybe show our stylist the picture on our phone just to make sure that they understand the vision that we have in our head. And then when the stylist is finally done, turns the chair around, puts the mirror in front of you, and you look at it and it's like, that's not what I was expecting, but I mean, I'll take it. Hey y'all, welcome back to Holistic Flow. I am your girl, Lolo, and today I will be talking about 10 pros and cons to having starter locks, or for the baby lock phase. I will have 5 pros and 5 cons, and honestly it was kind of difficult for me to come up with the cons because I absolutely love my baby locks. But of course there are some cons, so in this video I will be telling you all about those. And these are going to be personalized to my experience. Everybody will have their own pros and cons, things that they like that maybe somebody else doesn't like about this phase, or vice versa. But before I start this video, if you are new here to my channel, hello. Here on Holistic Flow, we are creating a safe space, a space for self-love, self-growth, and maturity, and we're taking a journey towards an overall better mind, body, and spirit connection. So if you're with that, then go ahead and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload a new video. If you have done that, thank you so much, and let's get into this video. So I want to do the cons first so I can, start off on, I wouldn't say negative things, but the things that are less favorable, and then leave off on a positive note with the more favorable things. So here are the 5 cons that I have for the baby lock / starter lock phase. Con number 1, from the time you first install your starter locks to the rest of your journey, but especially in between the 1 month and 3 month mark, you never know what your hair is going to look like. And the thing is, before we start our locks, most of us probably looked up lock videos on YouTube or ideas on Pinterest of how big or small we want our locks to be. We looked at other people with the same hair density, hair type, hair texture, so we can kind of get a feel for what we're aiming for as far as what our hair is going to look like. However, what your hair starts off looking like when you first install your starter locks is not always how it's gonna look like months down the line. And I listed this as a con because it's often expectation versus reality. What we expect, we want it to be done in real life. For example, when we go to the hair salon and we have a picture or an image in our head of what we want our hair to look like, and we maybe show our stylist the picture on our phone just to make sure that they understand the vision that we have in our head. And then when the stylist is finally done, turns the chair around, puts the mirror in front of you, and you look at it and it's like, that's not what I was expecting, but I mean, I'll take it. We have a very specific image sometimes in our head of what we want our locks to look like, but our hair is gonna do its own thing. And because each head of hair is so unique, you can never really look at somebody's head and say, just because they have my same hair type, texture, and density, that it's going to look like theirs. So our hair is gonna surprise us. Con number 2 is not being able to do many styles with your starter locks. And this depends on also your hair density and how many locks that you started with or have currently. Within the first few months, I would say 1 to 5 months, one wouldn't really want to do many styles with their starter locks, such as putting them into tight ponytails or getting rope twists or braid outs or twist outs or things such as that, because our hair is still trying to lock. It hasn't really gotten into the mature phase. So the more manipulation and pulling and stretching we do to our hair, it's gonna want to train our hair to lock slower actually, because one of the main things that happens during the lock journey is your hair shrinks. And that's for a good reason, because our strands need to get closer together so that they can tangle up into each other. So when our hair shrinks up and it looks shorter than what we expected, we may not be able to do many styles with it because it is shorter. However, like I said, depending on your lock count, you may be able to do a lot more styles with maybe 100 to 200 locks rather than somebody with 50 to 70 locks. So if you're somebody who likes versatility, then you possibly might need to wait a few months before you start doing some serious styling with your locks. But the good thing thing about this con is that this is all a choice. I've seen many people who just started their locks and then a month later they were going to the stylist and getting like barrel twist or rope twist or doing braid outs or twist outs, and they kept on doing it throughout their lock journey. So you can do it, but more than likely you're going to be limited in the amount of styling you can do rather than somebody who is more mature in the later months of their lock journey. Con number 3 of the baby lock phase is falling victim to comparison. Because we like to get on YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and scroll and get inspiration from other people's locks, it is very helpful because we can get so many good tips from people who are already experienced in their lock journeys. But I have found personally that I have often fallen victim to comparing my hair and the way it looks to other people's hair. And I'm sure others of us can relate, because going back to the expectation versus reality, we often expect our hair to look like something because we compared the way our hair looks to somebody else's hair, and because it looks similar, our expectation is that it will look like the picture that we saw or the video that we saw. And then when it turns out not looking like the picture that we saw that we were inspired by, we may start to be a little less confident in our lock journey because the reality did not meet the expectation. Well, when the expectation was based off of the comparison that we made to somebody else's head of locks, that's really not fair to ourselves. Because we're all unique individuals, every single person's head of hair is gonna look completely different. That's the great thing about black hair that I love. Con number 4 is the frizz that you will get. And this is a con for me, not really because of the look of frizz, because if you ask me, I actually love the look of frizz on starter locks. But it's a con because the frizz gets annoying. I personally get a lot of single strand knots. I got them a lot when I was loosely natural, so now since my hair is trying to lock, the single strand knots get a lot worse. And when frizz happens, you have loose strands of hair that are sticking out of the lock. So when you have single strands of hair that are out of the place of the twist, they often want to knot, but they want to knot to other locks on your head. So sometimes I'll be running my fingers through my hair and then I'll feel knots where one lock wants to lock with another lock. That just shows that locks still need maintenance. They need to be moisturized properly and they need to be handled with care. And that also brings me to my 5th con, which is the need to sometimes change up your hair care routine or your hair care products. A lock journey is a learning process. If you went through, say, years of a natural hair journey before you started to lock your hair, you would know that a natural hair journey is a learning process in itself because it involves finding the products that work for your hair, for your porosity, for your length, for your type. You have to find the right oils to seal in the moisture, find out what shampoos won't dry out your scalp, and sometimes your products will change as you grow and learn about your hair. Well, a lock journey is very similar to a natural hair journey because sometimes the products that you use in your natural hair journey, you will not need to use for your locks. Sometimes we'll learn that when we start locking our hair doesn't like some of the products or oils or whatever that we used to use on our loose natural hair. Our scalp may get drier quicker, or our hair may need a little bit more moisture, so we have to kind of relearn our hair because now that it's locking, it's in another form. So then the products that you may use in your baby lock phase may change in your teenage lock phase, and then the ones that you use in your teenage lock phase may also change in your mature phase. So it's all about relearning your hair. And those are all my cons. So now let's move on to the pros. It was kind of hard for me to only choose 5 because so far this journey has been just nothing but happiness, honestly. And these are in no order, by the way. But the first pro is realizing how less maintenance it takes for a lock journey as opposed to a natural hair journey. Taking care of my natural hair was a chore. My wash and style day was not one day. It was like a day and a half of the next day because it takes a lot of maintenance. Like I said, learning your products, but also taking time to detangle, style, and taking time to dry and deep condition. And this would happen as often as every week to every month. Since I started locking my hair, the maintenance time has cut down so substantially. It's like you can just wake up, take your scarf off, spray your hair with water, shake it out, and then go about your day. And like I said, this is my personalized experience. Because I only have 74 locks, that's considered a low lock count, and my locks are on the thicker side. So since I have less locks, it actually takes a little less maintenance than if you have 100, 150, 200 locks. So maybe if you're watching this video thinking of locking your hair and haven't started yet, that's something to think about as far as the maintenance, because I've seen people actually start to combine their locks because they had too many locks to start with and they didn't enjoy the maintenance that it came with. So that's something to think about. Pro number 2 is that a lock journey teaches you how to have patience, especially in these beginning months. I wake up and, like I said, spritz my hair, but then I also look at my hair in the mirror. I look at my locks and say, this one is starting to bud. This one is getting a little bit more frizzy. And because I look at my hair every day, I expect to see something different within my hair, but it's just been one day. And sometimes looking at it every single day actually gets you a little impatient. I also learned that I needed to have patience in my first month when I did a twist out on my hair 3 times in the span of like 2 weeks. My hair hadn't even done any type of budding yet. And I realized that I didn't need to do those styles because it was pulling my hair, it was manipulating it, and ultimately it would just make my hair want to lock slower. So it takes patience to not put your hair in certain hairstyles that you know you shouldn't be doing, but it looks cute anyways and you want to change. In the starter lock phase, it's kind of difficult to not have as much versatility as you had when your hair was all loose. So patience and discipline as well are some important things to know. We need patience and discipline in life. So that's something beautiful that I see about a lock journey. The third pro of being in the baby lock phase is not having to use a lot of product. Some people have just used water and oil. Some people just plainly use water and aloe vera gel and oil. You really only need 2 or 3 products, and that includes your shampoo. That is great because number 1, products can get expensive, especially for natural hair. They be taxing us. And because it takes less maintenance, whatever products you are using, you will probably use them a lot less frequently than you would if you were loosely natural. So that is a huge pro for me. Pro number 4 is growing confidence and self-love. It takes confidence for you to go out with frizzy hair that to somebody else looks unkempt and ungroomed, lazy or messy, but you have to have confidence to go out and rock whatever your hair wants to do and say, I am not my hair, I am not my skin, I am the soul that lives within. Because India Ari was speaking some facts when she said that. So self-confidence as well as self-love. Like I was saying with the whole comparison thing, we tend to, just in life with general things, compare our physical appearances to somebody else who we think has more desirable physical appearances. But this journey is about learning that it's not about the physical, it's about the spiritual, the soul that lives within, but also about the mental, and your mental involves self-love. I like to think of our hair as a plant. Our hair is like the leaves of our plant. Our body in the inside is like our soil. Whatever you put in the soil of a plant really matters as to how the plant is going to grow and flourish. If we feed our body self-hate, negativity, and that's replaying in our mind, well then it's gonna come out in our hair and in other stuff such as our skin and nails, and our plant won't grow and flourish to its full capacity. However, if we feed our body, our soil, positivity and enlightenment and self-love, then it's going to have our plant grow and flourish. So yeah, just something to think about as well. The 5th pro is being able to now spark up conversations about lock journeys with other people who have been on a lock journey, especially because a lot more people are locking their hair now than I've seen in a long time. And maybe it's that effect where because you're going through something, you automatically see how other people are going through it or have already been through it. And it's not really that more people are doing it currently, but it's the fact that you now pay more attention to it. But whatever it is, there's a whole community of people who have locked their hair, and there's so many different types of locks. Like I said, every head of hair is going to look completely different, but the lock community is so supportive, and there's so many conversations to be had about a lock journey. It's like some conversations can only be had and understood by the people who have went through it. So those are all of my pros and cons. And if you are thinking about locking your hair or are locking your hair and maybe are on more of the con side of things where you're kind of struggling with it and don't know if you can go on with it, then I would definitely encourage you to really look within yourself and see the beauty of a lock journey. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up by hitting the thumbs up button down below. Leave a comment. Tell me if you're on your lock journey, how long have you been locking your hair? Maybe what struggles you've been having. We can have conversations in the comments to uplift each other. And I hope to see you in my next video. But until then, I'm sending peace your way, love your way, and joy to you, your family, and your friends. All right, y'all. Peace.